on an island off the coast of Scotland. Something was summoned from the depths of hell. Something that would end mankind.
And this thing you worried about, did it show up?
Oh, yes. You did.
We face every threat there is, and yet you take me in.
Hello, son.
Made me a goddamn weapon.
Where's my fucking violin?
Listen up, ladies and gentlemen. Out there's a 5th century sorceress who wants to bring down the curtain on London and the world.
Great. Homework.
Why do you fight for those who hate and fear you? You were meant for this. Out of the ashes, new Eden will emerge.
Aloha! This is Trinidad the Island Man, your Island Man, coming to you live once again from beautiful Hawaii here on the island of Oahu, bringing you, yes you, the best movie reviews on the entire island of Oahu. And yes, this is Trinidad the Island Man, your Island Man. And let me just say that I regret I'm a little late again with my review of this week's movie, Hellboy, the 2019 remake version. But, you know, honestly, I did not want to pay full price for this movie because from the trailers, I had seen what this movie was going to be, or at least what it looked like to me, which, well, I'll tell you in my review. But so I wanted to wait for the $6 over at the Windward Regal Consolidated Theaters because I didn't want to pay full price. And so watching it Tuesday and thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and give you my review. And remember, our rating scale, Shaka thumbs up. It's good to see, I recommend it. Shaka thumbs down. It's bad to see, it's junk, I don't recommend it. And well, for the 2019 remade version of Hellboy, starring David Harbour from Stranger Things, Mila Jovanovic from, you know, the Resident Evil films, you know, and of course, gosh, you know, such classics as The Fifth Element, and also, you know, her work in Joan of Arc. And additionally, Ian McShane was also in this movie. He plays formerly John Hurt's role in this movie as the father to Hellboy, you know, which you can currently see him in American Gods, doing a stellar performance there on that Starz television series on cable. And then Daniel Dae Kim makes a debut in this. And let me just say that he plays a role that was originally meant to be played by Ed Skrein from the remake of The Transporter, one season of Game of Thrones, and you know, just recently in Alita Battle Angel as one of the head mercenary guys, or you know, bounty hunters, but because the character that he was to portray in Hellboy, this movie, was supposed to be an Asian character, although he didn't know when he was cast. There was a lot of SJW backlash against him. Why is he taking a role of an Asian character? You know, and why didn't it go to an Asian actor? You know, and so he bowed out. He said, okay, hey, that's fine. You know, and he bowed out of this role. And let me just say, that saved his bacon, because overall, my review of Hellboy 2019 is a definite Shaka thumbs down. I paid $6 to see this movie, and believe me, $6, that was $6 too much. whew, when this movie is on TNT, you know, on broadcast TV, cut down from the blood and gore, because this is a rated R version, whereas the others with Guillermo del Toro, 1 and 2 beforehand, with Hellboy being played by Ron Perlman, were PG, you know, maybe PG-13. You know, this one had a lot more blood and gore and bad language. No nudity, oddly enough, despite Mila Jovovich's role in this. But the overall efforts for this movie, the storyline was all right. Let me just say that. And these are decent actors. Yes, even Mila Jovovich, you know, playing the role that she plays in this movie as the head bad guy, the villainess, the evil demon queen or whatever. She, you know, through her work on Resident Evil, and yes, you know, even Joan of Arc, you know, she has really, you know, she's pushed herself in her career to go beyond just what she'd simply, you know, the model that she simply was before. And, you know, she delivers her lines fine in this movie. You know, she makes an okay bad guy, or bad girl, I guess, bad woman in this. But overall, the movie just doesn't matter in any sense of the word. I mean, if you've seen the Del Toro movies, you know, Hellboy 1 and then Part 2, The Golden Army, those are far superior movies being made, what, 10 years ago, with special effects and costuming and makeup that is far superior to this 2019 version. And that is astounding. So again, it is a shock of thumbs down for this movie. Just wait for it on TV. I wouldn't even recommend you spend money to rent it or stream it. That's how deplorable this movie is. And again, it may or may not be the fault of the actors. I'm going to say that it's not, because, you know, Stranger Things, David Harbour has done good job, you know, a very good job as the sheriff in that movie. You know, Daniel Day Kim, his work on Hawaii Five-0, you know, he's a great actor. We still wish, at least I hope we can see him in Namor eventually as a Marvel movie. But overall, outside of that, this movie really stunk. And again, like I said, the story is okay. Yet the overall, the overall story is okay, because basically they mesh the very first Hellboy, kind of giving a little bit of a backstory with his past in this movie, just to catch you back up to speed. And since it is not related to the first or the second movie with Ron Perlman and Guillermo del Toro, it has to kind of put its foot forward again and retell that origin story. Although it does so, thankfully, quickly. The other part of this story feels like a remake or a retelling of the animated Hellboy movie, voiced by Ron Perlman, which is still far superior than this movie, called Blood and Iron, where there is a demon vampire queen that is resurrected, again, very much like this movie, that comes, and because she is super powerful, she was stopped many years ago in the past. She reemerges now, being reanimated to take over the world, and Hellboy has to stop her. And that is pretty much the gist of this movie, and that's what happens in this movie. And again, this is a rated R movie, so they had the opportunity to show all the blood, all the horror, all the guts that they wanted to, and they did so. But I feel that, you know, in doing so, they felt that, oh, the story and the costuming, the makeup, and the poor CGI effects don't really matter, because we can just cover it up or hide it through all the blood and gore and gross people out, or people will focus on that more than the lack of good CGI or good costuming effects. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't work. Again, like I say, the story overall is feasible. It comes from a very good grounded story, both from the comics and from the movies, which unfortunately, maybe because we have seen that before, especially with Hellboy's origin, and I think especially with the acting chops of Ron Perlman, the physicality of Ron Perlman, and the way that he wore that makeup. Whoever did the makeuping, why didn't they just get the guys who did the makeup from this movie? If they couldn't get Ron Perlman, or didn't want Ron Perlman again, at least get the guys who did the makeup. Because in this one, David Harbour plays Hellboy, and he just looks awful. I mean, he's a big guy. He is not as big as Ron Perlman, obviously. For being almost 70 years old, Ron Perlman really looked fantastic as Hellboy in both the first and second movie. David Harbour in this, he looks flabby. He looks like they just spray painted on his red makeup. That his hair is matted. It looks really like a wig all the way through this movie. Just terrible. And don't even get me on the CGI that looks like something out of the late 80s, early 90s kind of computer-generated graphics for the monsters, which all of which could have been so cool and innovative. Things that we had seen from Del Toro's movies before, whether, made real through models, through the use of the CGI that he had back in the day, along with the makeup and the costuming that he had done and that he had brought forth for his versions of Hellboy, were just so much superior to this movie. It's like you'd think that this one was the movie from the 80s, this version of Hellboy. Definitely not worth wasting your time, your money on for this movie in the theaters. Just go ahead and take your time and see it later on, which probably won't be too long, as it only made $12 million on its opening weekend. And I think the budget for this was anywhere from like 40 to 80 million. So even at 12 million for opening weekend, whereas a movie like this should have made at least 20 to 30, with, the tremendous, the well-known amount of the character, the large scope of the world creation that we had seen before with it, and just interest alone. But again, like I said, from all the previews of this show, the trailers, I knew I wanted to stay away from it, and watching it now just simply confirms that even more. All right, thank you so much. Again, this is Trinidad the Island Man, your Island Man, live in Hawaii on the island of Oahu, telling you shaka thumbs down for Hellboy, the 2019 version. If you really want to watch any of the other two, watch the other two, and you'll feel much more satisfied than wasting time on this movie. All right, thank you so much, and aloha.